All right, with all due respect, it is 76 days to the election of the 9th August. It is crunch time as both Azimio and UDA work the ground to get their messages across. The battle of the heart and minds, if you like, of voters is full on, and with selection of running mates, the dice is cast. UDA have spent time combing Mount Kenya after the nomination of Martha Karua, who had spent time immediately after her nomination talking to her base. Rigathi Gachagua has fashioned the debate in Mount Kenya to be one where Azimio candidate Raila Odinga is completely unacceptable to voters there.
Huyu mzee akitendawili, si tumekataa miaka yote. Sababu zilifanya tumkatae zimebadilika. Sasa anajaribu kupakwa rangi. Anatuambiwa ni mtu mwingine, anajificha nyuma ya dada yetu. Nyinyi mnaweza changanyika? Mnaweza changanyikiwa?
Well, on her part, Martha Karua is distinguishing their ticket as the one of consciousness and integrity, contrasting her record, personality against William Ruto and Rigathi Gachagua.
Wengine wamepata nafasi kwa serikali, hawajapata sifa hata kwa kijiji. Kila wanapopitia ni duru ya ufisadi. Mimi nawaomba usipoteze ukichagua mfisadi, akipora pesa yako hautapata huduma yeyote.
Well, so the question begs tonight, is this election about bottom-up economics or about integrity? My guest tonight will help us figure this out. Professor Makau Mutua, spokesman Raila Odinga 2022 presidential campaign. Karibu to the program.
Thank you for having me.
Nelson Havi, former LSK president and aspirant Westlands parliamentary seat, beg your pardon, but karibu sana. Former Mr. President.
Asante sana, James.
And Stephen Mule, member of parliament, Matungulu.
Thank you very much.
Gentlemen, welcome to the program. As we're preparing this program tonight, the question that has been on Kenya's minds, that we finished all the shadow boxing, if you like. It's now the candidates, and we have the issue set, all right? Prof, let's start with you. What's this election about?
This election is about change and about the fulfillment of the promise of this country that the founders of this country charged us with, to fight disease, to fight poverty, and to fight hunger. We are now well into 60 years of independence, and many of those challenges are still with us. There is one candidate in this election, and one only, who has devoted his entire life to confront those challenges, but also to confront the challenges of governance. He led, as you all know, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga led the second liberation, which was to liberate this country from the shackles of political despotism. I think that fight was won in 2010. He's now leading us into the third liberation, that of the economy, of empowering our people, of trying to conquer those three enemies. And I think my fellow panelists will agree that on our opposite number, Mr. Ruto, has no history of fighting for anything in this country except for himself.
Okay. Javi, what's this election about? And also just to respond to what Prof has spoken about, that perhaps the UDA candidate has no history of fighting anything.
Well, you see, the premise that Prof has painted is very erroneous. But I must agree with him to a certain extent. This election is about change. Change from what to what. In his view, the election is about change for economic empowerment. Who between Dr. William Samoei Ruto and Prime Minister Raila Amolo Odinga offers the most viable model upon which to anchor social economic change. Now, if you are to interrogate that primordial question, you'll come to the conclusion that this election, looked at it from a very panoramic perspective, is about service and rulership. Here in UDA, we have promised a very elaborate mechanism upon which to empower everybody to earn a living, to play his or her role in social and economic development. On the other side, you will find ideas that are far distanced from now, where, for instance, the candidate for president perceives a restaurant run by a university graduate as a demeaning responsibility. Now, therein lies the question. And unless and until we interrogate these two serious questions, we may get lost in the noise that has been propagated by our opponents.
Okay. All right. Mule, for you, what's this election about?
Thanks, my brother. Is that this election is squarely about issues. And the biggest issue we have right now, which need to be addressed, is the cost of living in this country. Cost of living has become way beyond many Kenyans. The cost of schooling our kids, it has gone beyond reasonable doubt. And basically, it is an election whereby we are looking at the best suited candidates to make sure that integrity upholds as per the constitution of this country in this republic. So there are many, many challenges, and I believe that the outcome of this year's election will be based on how we approach the issues Kenyans are raising, which are very pertinent. The issues of housing, the issues of infrastructure, the issues of water, the issues of how to deal with unemployment in this country, the issues of youth in this country. It's quite a big issue. So for me, it's basically an election to deal with specific issues touching Kenyans. And that's why sometimes we look at things in a very different way, and I feel a bit absurd when we have people giving us models, economic model, bottom up. Is it up, bottom, whatever it is? It does not make sense. For
Havi is here, don't worry. Havi is here. He's promised to clear all these up by tonight. So
I had the running mate this morning. He couldn't explain that bottom up in a radio call, radio station this morning, whereby he was speaking his own vernacular language. So if we can't do that, surely, what are we talking about, Prof? We're saying we're looking at leadership come 9th of August 2022. Leadership which is tested, integrity, and based issues. Basic issues, not economic.
You sit in a very interesting position. Is your party leader still going to be on the ballot? Let's just get that off there.
You had us yesterday very clear and sound as political leaders from the region. You had the professionals from the region urging the party leader to reconsider his position. And I can attest to you, with Professor here, we are going to put something on paper and pen very quickly. Okay,
let's go circle back to these issues, because we should not lose the track that now Kenyans have to crystallize what this election is about. On the question of, and just to pose what UDA has posed on the campaign trail, that Raila Odinga has finished his mandate, if you like. You know, fighting for constitutionalism and that sort of thing is all well and good, but it's history. Like, he has nothing new to offer. How do you answer to that?
Well, first of all, let me say that you know, those who do not learn from history are condemned to repeat it. So this notion that history is not important is nonsensical in the extreme. We will not be sitting here, but for our forefathers, but for the things that this country gave us, but for the freedoms that the freedom fighters gave us, but for the 2010 Constitution that was fought for. You see, this election is not about promises, empty promises, and it's not about models that have been borrowed or sort of plucked up in the air by individuals who cannot even explain them, because they do not understand what they have borrowed. Stale ideas, okay? What we propose to do within the Azimio movement is to create a true welfare state. We've made a number of proposals on the table that are reachable, that will address the kinds of issues, sort of kitchen table issues, that my friend Stephen is talking about, which include things like giving 6,000 shillings a month to the most vulnerable families, providing access to health care, providing the youth with employment, capacitating the Juakali sector, and so on and so forth. By the way, the past is always prologue, by which I mean that if you want someone to deliver you to a safe harbor, you look at what they have done before. You don't look at what they are promising you. You look at what they have done before. If you look at the history of my candidate, he has delivered before, Mr. Smart. So when you ask these questions about history and so on, look at what he has done before and look at what he is promising to do going forward. The ideas on which we are running in this campaign are ideas that are proven, that they are tried, and they are tested, not just in this country, but across the world. These guys on my left, and I want to separate Mr. Nelson Havi from, his boss. But these guys...
Don't be nice to him now.
But no. I'm not... these guys have jumped from the frying pan and to the fire. The choice that they have made of a running mate tells you all you need to know about what they value.
Prof, what is that one thing that is very wrong with William Ruto that does not sit right with you? What is that one thing?
But my friend, Mr. Smart, how could you ask me about one thing? Ask me about a retinue of things, a caravan of things, a parade of horribles. Mr. Ruto is laden, is a scandal, laden individual. Do I need to mention these scandals?
Okay.
Okay, I don't need to mention these scandals. Okay. And so because when you elect someone for president, you are not just electing someone to go and lead in the highest office. You're also electing someone whom the country can look up to. Surely, someone who has been accused of grand theft, or has been accused of money laundering, has been accused of even the worst of crimes, the most heinous crimes, is that the kind of person that this country wants our children to look up to? I mean, Mr. Smart, give me a break.
And so, Havi, you've had the prof. Do you accept that assessment of the candidate and the person of William Ruto? And what's that one thing for you that is really unacceptable about Raila Odinga?
Look, James, you are smart enough to see through the mischief evident in Prof's initial statement. Where are these accusations? From whose mouths are they projected? Kenya is a country governed by the rule of law. The Constitution is quite explicit. Who has made the determination that Dr. William Ruto has fallen below the integrity yardstick? Is there any case brought before courts of law against him? None whatsoever. No wonder, therefore, just a minute, Smart, as we indicated, you are smart enough to see through this.
Both of your mistakes. Yes. Both of your mistakes, by the way, but go ahead, yes.
Yeah. They will assemble people in a rally and say, I will jail William Ruto. I will jail all these people. Who are you to jail them? When did you become a judge? When did you become a lawyer? When did you have control over the courts? You see, these are false promises. No wonder, therefore, he rightfully says, we don't want to look at promises. And to that extent, I agree with him. Don't look at the false promises being given by these guys that will jail. Jail them for what? We need issue-based campaigns. We have offered with scientific evidence to improve the welfare of everybody at the bottom of the economic strata in Kenya, so that Mama Mboga, when he borrows 100 shillings in the morning, does not have to pay 130 in the evening to make even. You understand? When I have graduated from the University of Nairobi, I'm not compelled to be employed by the government or corporation to be sustainable. You understand? These are the ideas that underlie the economic model that has been put forth by UDA. And it's a viable model.
But it runs on sort of like, I think, a value system. Because this is what I'm not hearing, at least from your side, that the question of corruption or integrity is a non-issue as long as, you know, we uplift people from poverty. Is that the correct way to run a country?
Corruption and integrity is a fundamental issue, smart.
Yeah.
But upon whom has it been given the role of making that finding? You understand? Look, there are individuals who have been impeached. There are individuals who have been convicted. They are precluded by the Constitution from running for office. It cannot lie in the mouth of other individuals who do not have that authority to make that determination.
Can I just
and
say,
to that extent, you're able to perceive how fallacious that premise is.
Okay. Havi, can I say something?
Yeah. Absolutely,
to him?
Yes, before I go for the break.
You know, both of us are lawyers, and we respect our profession.
Absolutely.
But we know that the law is an ass.
And everybody has an ass.
Yeah. No, but the law is an ass. You know that, right?
Well, the other one.
And the law is also can also be the refuge of the scoundrel. Okay. So I know Harvey, when he was, the president of the Law Society of Kenya, one of his biggest projects there, one of the things that he harped on all the time was impunity. Okay? But you cannot fight impunity unless you catch criminals, you prosecute them, you jail them, and you throw away the key.
Yeah.
And he knows that.
But Harvey is right, to the extent that it's not the job of the president to do that.
No, but the president has a bully pulpit. And if the president of a country cannot use that bully pulpit of his, and with all the powers granted by his office, to preach this message of accountability, you know, and to push for the rule of law, and to make sure that individuals who are, credibly accused, as Mr. Ruto been credibly accused, and in fact convicted on one count of land grabbing of the land of Mr. Muteshi, yes, who was an IDP, yes, internally displaced person. There's a conviction there for land grabbing. Okay, that is a fact. You know, there are others that we know for which he has been credibly accused. The issue of Western Hotel is on the table before the courts. Okay, so we are not talking about things that we are making up. We are talking about a record of wrongdoing, a record of criminal responsibility on his part. That is what we are talking about. Okay. And our campaign is premised fundamentally on cleaning up this country. We cannot say that we want a new Kenya unless we can, clean up this country. We're going to do it.
Okay, cleaning up this country. When I come back, yes, Stephen Mule would have the first go at the question of records and who among the two top candidates has the clean record, and how should we actually tabulate those records, and how should we mark that exam, with all due respect. All right, welcome back, with all due respect. When we took the break, we were discussing what this election is exactly about. Is it about integrity or about economics? Bottoms up, or the question of consciousness that has evaded this country for a long time? Mr. Mule, before you took the break, it was your turn to speak. But here's the question that we know we have our own biases. So if I like William Ruto, anything that he does and everything that the opposite person says does not stick. And the same goes for Raila Odinga. If I like him, everything else that anyone says does not stick. Or, it's academic, if you like. What is that yardstick that we should use to look at these two top candidates?
First and foremost is to look at the history of what Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga has done to this country. He has devoted his life to make sure that we have a second liberation of this country. He has devoted his life to make sure that Kenya will get a new constitution. He has devoted his life to make sure that at least we have freedom of speech. And our brother on the other side, he has devoted his life to fight cartels. He has devoted his life to form cartels, to root, to make sure that any scandal in this country, if it's linked direct or indirect, it's there. So basically, both of them, the candidate of choice who resonate with our manifesto and Wiper is Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. And I can assure you that the moment we do that pen and paper with Azimio and Wiper, you'll be seeing a serious model of how to run this country, whereby we'll have Raila Amolo Odinga as the apex and two strong candidates with good integrity of the country, Honorable Martha Karua and Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, who can run this country and root out corruption. And I know why this side they are fearing this merger is that because they know that we are going for this thing on first round. Round one will win with 54 plus.
Help me understand this question, though. And it always comes up that, so on this standard, William Ruto was found to be a running mate in 2013 and 2017, but now is unacceptable. Why is that? What has changed between 2018 and now?
Politics is a number, it creates a number of issues and dynamics. And basically, Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is still the best running mate for Honorable Raila Odinga. But because of dynamism within the country and how our politics is structured, we really needed to have a clear change of the faces of how Azimio will put their candidates forward. And two, don't forget, we are looking at the bigger picture of the Mount Kenya populated vote area. And I can assure you, since the pickup of Honorable Martha Karua by Honorable Raila Odinga, the percentage have changed completely. And the numbers in Mount Kenya have changed completely. And I can assure you, with the merger of Kalonzo Musyoka coming back to Azimio, you are assured of 5+ million votes from the rich Ukambani area and the entire Kamba nation in this country. And I want to say that for us, we are focused on delivery of service and issues within this country. And I know we'll bring that experience to Azimio to make sure that we look at proper economic model, not bottom up. We need 24-hour economy for this country. We need to make sure that all students who go to university, at least they can clear their university level without paying school fees.
But how?
We need to close down the corrupt exit of money of this country and plow that money towards education of this nation. I can assure you, if we close all the avenues of corruption in this country, we'll have more money. If this country is still strong, with all the manner of things we normally hear every morning, and we close that window, you'll be able to educate the students in primary school, secondary school, university. We'll be able to create jobs for this country. And one thing I'm very key about Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka, Martha Karua, and Raila Amolo Odinga is that they have the heart of this country with them. They know exactly what to do.
Okay. Nelson, it's pretty much the same question. When you do not like Raila Odinga, for instance, everything about him, is black. There's nothing good you see. What's that one thing, like I said again, about Raila Odinga and what he's promising that doesn't sit right with you? Or with the whole UDA, Kenya Kwanza Brigade, what's that thing that doesn't sit right with you?
James, I'll be very honest with you. There is nothing wrong with Raila Amolo Odinga. He's the perfect leader. Look, Dr. William Samoei Ruto is a pupil of Raila Amolo Odinga. I am a pupil of Raila Amolo Odinga. We like the good work that he has done.
So and why can't he be president?
He's done a tremendous job, you understand? Yeah. And the earlier we realize and acknowledge what people have done, the better we are placed to isolate personalities when we are considering issues. Understand? So I will not sit here and say Raila is bad, Raila is this, Martha is this. Martha is a very good friend of mine. She's a distinguished lawyer. She's done a tremendous job in the legal profession, much as Raila has done. But what we need to discuss right now is what issues are on the table viewed from the perspective of a voter. Permit me just to start from where he has said. He talked about reducing the burden of graduates on account of HALB. There was a bill that came to Parliament the other day to lower the interest rates. Can you tell us what they did for the youth of Kenya? He's been in Parliament for the last 10 years. And if you look at the manner in which he approaches issues, I mean, hero worship, Baba this, Martha this. No, you are a leader. Don't lament. Don't tell us we'll make opportunities better for the youth. You've been in Parliament, my friend. All the predicament, the perils that we have experienced for the last 10 years rest solely on your shoulders. Now, when you start pointing fingers at individuals for us to perceive your viewpoint as sellable, therein lies the problem. Here in UDA, we don't want to discuss personalities. We want to project a future that is better for the people of Kenya, one that is sustainable. And as I close on that fundamental premise, this, Martha Karua, Raila Amolo Odinga have played a pivotal role in the liberations. We don't require any more liberation. We don't require any more reform. The panacea of the reforms we struggled for was the 2010 Constitution. The problem we must now confront is implementation. Who between these two camps wants to improve the economy, the social economic well-being of the country? And who between these two camps wants to restructure the power setup by amending the Constitution to distribute power amongst themselves? These are the questions that the people of Kenya must deal with. Do we want a review, an amendment of the Constitution, or do we want a review, a betterment of the social economic status that we have right now? If we answer that, we are making progress.
Well, I just want to say, first of all, acknowledge my brother here, Mr. Mule, for his very generous comments, which are truthful and which are honest from his heart about my candidate, the Right Honorable Raila Odinga, but also Senior Counsel Martha Karua, the running mate. These are two stellar individuals. This country called Kenya, this region called East Africa, has never seen a presidential ticket as powerful as that one. When history is written, you know, years and years from now, these two individuals will be foisted on top of Mount Kenya. Let me say this parenthetically, that the Right Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka is a man of honor. Okay, we've had, you know, our times of, you know, exchanging ideas here vigorously from time to time. But I've always thought of him to be a leader in this country. And I've always ranked him, by the way, among the 5, you know, most important political leaders in this country.
But he wasn't proper to be the running mate this time.
That is not the issue. The issue is that,
but Prof.
you know,
saying all these nice things about
no,
him.
but I'm just saying, I'm coming to you, you know, that what Mr. Mule was saying, you know, was dynamics change from time to time. These two individuals, Mr. Odinga and Mr. Musyoka, ran twice. And by our count, we won both elections. Okay? We were robbed, but we won both elections. Now, the dynamics have changed because opponents do not stand still. The opponent today is different. You adjust to the opponent. I think that we had a vetting panel to choose our nominee. That was an open and transparent process. And I think there is no question but that Ms. Karua performed spectacularly. Okay, our history is well known. You know, like I said, you know, if you look at the top of the ticket and the bottom of the ticket, Ms. Karua, you could not find any ticket in the history of East Africa that was as powerful as that one. If you add Mr. Musyoka into that mix, and I hope that very soon here we'll be able to say, you know, to shake hands. You know,
must we quote in public?
No, wait.
I've noticed that there's a lot of quoting happening.
No. It's free speech. There's free speech, Mr. Smart. So let me just say this. Don't stop me from making my point. Now, if we add Mr. Musyoka to the mix, this will be the most powerful trio to govern this country. Now, I've noticed also, Mr. Smart, that my good friend here, esteemed attorney, does not want to defend his leader. He has skirted around the issue, and he has
spoken very well about Dr. William Ruto.
No, but he has not exactly defended him. What I will say is this. I will say this, that you cannot defend a skunk. It is not possible to defend a skunk, because a skunk stinks. So yeah, it stinks. And so Mr. Havi is running for Westlands. And I think it's only fair for himself to separate himself from the skunk so that he can be judged on his own merit.
Mr. Havi, would you accept that?
Well, Prof here has never set foot in a courtroom. He doesn't understand often when there is no need to ask a question. A distinguished lawyer like myself will say, my lord, no more questions for this witness. I mean, he got no case. Why should I waste time on it? Because, and truth be told, William Ruto has been convicted time without number in the records of who? Justice Professor Makau Mutua. He keeps on writing judgments against Dr. William Ruto Sunday after Sunday. And it resides in his mind that he has convicted Dr. William Ruto. Therein lies the problem. I cannot be asked to appeal against his judgments. It's not a court of law. It's not a damn judge. It's not even an advocate in the High Court of Kenya. You get my point? That's why it is fallacious for him to premise his discourse on the false foundation that Harvey is a Puritan, is a good man, but is running. I'm not running away from Dr. William Samoei Ruto. I've embraced him, and I'm here to espouse the issues, the points that have been laid on the table on behalf of UDA to advance the plight of this country. Because these gentlemen have done a good job for a long period of time until they decided to embrace somebody who was on his way out to continue with his legacy. And us, who were with them before, said, no, we cannot do that. We must bring change. And change is not brought by embracing that which has caused the problem.
That's very interesting, and I want to go through it because the Jubilee 10 years is a ticket. It was a combination of vision. So at what point does the deputy president adapt a new vision? At what point? When did this happen? 2018, 2022?
It's very easy to dispose of this elementary question, Smart. You see, Harry Truman says the buck stops here. The buck stops on the threshold of President Uhuru Kenyatta. You understand? No wonder, therefore, those who do not affiliate themselves with this cardinal principle of leadership will want to pick somebody who they perceive to be another Puritan and take him to a region in Kenya without the candidate for president, with the hope that they will sell that person, and by caprice, deceit, or seduction, appeal to that voter bloc. Therein lies the problem. So, in conclusion, so far as this point is concerned, the problems that bedevil Kenya as of now are the problems caused by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And it's a pity, very unfortunate, God forbid that this should happen, that my very good friend and my father, Raila Amolo Odinga, wants to continue that subjugation of the people of Kenya. Therein lies the departure. And to that extent, I must disagree with him and him, despite having agreed with them for a long period of time. And I beseech Kenyans of reasonable, rational thought also to perceive this issue from this perspective. If you do so, we'll get lasting change. Not a change that will replace those people on the chairs. Change that will give ideas that are sustainable.
I want to ask this question before I go for a break. Who's the change?
Right now, the change lies with Kenyans. And that change is coming with Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, with Martha Karua and Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka.
How do you answer to the question that Raila has been part and parcel of sort of second part of Jubilee? How's that change? How do you answer that?
Raila has not been part and parcel of second part of Jubilee. He has just been able to bring the country together by turning the country political temperatures down. I want to tell Havi that I've been in Parliament for 10 years when President Uhuru Kenyatta and William Ruto, they have one ticket to run this country. And I can assure you, William Samoei Ruto cannot run away even a single day from the problems Kenyans are facing. He has been in office. And if he was genuine enough to make sure that, to see that things are going wrong, he should have been a gentleman, resigned from that government. Up to today, Kenya is still paying him salary. He's hosting his political arenas at a government house in Karen. He's not an honest person. And I want to be honest with you. If he was honest and Kenyans look at this, whereby he had decided to milk Kenyans without doing anything for them, without assisting in government operations, but politicking. For 5 years politicking. Surely, if Kenyans want that real change comes with Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Honorable Martha Karua, and Honorable Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka once we merge them very quickly. That will, I can assure you, it can be done before the weekend.
This court still continues. There's a bylaw against romancing in public.
Smart. Yeah. I want to tell Havi is that it's very unfortunate for them. Right now, they don't have anybody to court.
Okay.
We're done. We have a stable marriage.
All right.
Okay. You guys are full of interest.
How do you break this sort of Raila Uhuru dalliance from 2018 to now, and everything that has happened in between, and sort of the distancing of the deputy president with the entire 10 years of sort of Jubilee failure or Jubilee success? Where do you break this, sort of line and say, well, we'll take the successes we've helped Jubilee for the last 5 years to, stabilize the country or whatever it is, and then the failures that Jubilee has done for the last 10 years is not ours. It belongs to another party.
Well, I have to say, first of all, that let's remember that the Supreme Court nullified the 2017 elections. Let's remember that the country was on fire. And the country was about to go over the cliff. And it was the wisdom of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. And I must say the wisdom of Mr. Uhuru Kenyatta. For them to come together, to lower the temperatures, to shake hands. I don't think that anyone can fault them for that. Okay? I think the problem, however, is that the person of the deputy president, okay, who occupies office and who has squatted in that office to this day, fleecing the taxpayer, some people call him a ghost worker. AWOL, absent without leave, okay? Gone away from office, okay? Mr. Odinga has done the right thing by working with Mr. Kenyatta to help steady the ship of state, okay? We know that much of the debt that this country, for example, carries was incurred in the first term. We know that actually a lot of some of this infrastructure that we are seeing today has been done in the last 5 years when Mr. Ruto has been gallivanting across the country, So I would say that rather than crucifying, Mr. Odinga for helping stabilize the country, we ought to thank him for that. And we ought to say this to Kenyans. They have only one country to call home. The African state is a fragile state, okay? You don't play with it. We've seen what has happened when other countries have collapsed. To snatch them back is very, very difficult. So I have no qualms about all of this. What I will say to you is this, just in closing, is simply to say that, you don't make peace with your friends. You make peace with your foes and with your enemies. These two guys came together and they made peace. But now what we are trying to do within Azimio is to take this country from where it is, to address the kind of pocketbook issues that he was talking about, to realize the promise of our forefathers.
Okay.
That is what we're trying to do here.
But Prof, then the quick question is, in your mind, has Jubilee failed or succeeded in the last 10 years?
I would say that it's a very mixed record, quite frankly. You know, there are many successes, but there are also many failures. You know, but that is true of most governments as well. You know, let me say this. Our obligation to Kenyans is not to, you know, talk about, you know, to lament about failures in this country. It is to offer solutions to the problems that this country faces. Okay. It is not simply to keep on pointing fingers and saying that this has gone wrong, this has gone wrong. It is to say what we are going to do to fix these problems. Kenyans are not interested in finger pointing all the time. They are interested in solutions. People want healthcare. People want food on their table. People want education, as Mr. Havi here would surely attest to. And
you're offering that solution.
But Kenyans also want us to learn from the mistakes of history. You know, so all the mistakes that have been done by Jubilee surely must be corrected, and it cannot be repeated by the next administration.
Okay, I want to go on a break. Do you accept whose Jubilee? Has Jubilee failed or succeeded in the last 10 years from where you sit, as I go on a break?
Jubilee has failed, and it has failed substantially because the principal, President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, failed to embrace the person he got elected into office with and work together with him, and failed in his Big Four agenda. And before we go to the break, I must plead with the people of Mount Kenya to see the mistreatment with which Dr. William Ruto was subjected to as deputy president. As day succeeds night, if they make the mistake of giving Azimio the presidency, the person they're looking at as a prospective deputy president will be subjected to the same mistreatment because it is a continuation of President Uhuru Kenyatta's tenure.
Okay, I must go to the break. I must go to the break. I'll come back to you with all due respect. Let's take this short break. We'll be right back shortly.
$1.8 million. For more information, contact us through the details on your screen.
Respect, welcome back. We were disposing of the question on the issue of, you know, Jubilee and the failures of Jubilee or the success of Jubilee in the last 10 years. Where you've been in Parliament the last 10 years. Yes. Has Jubilee succeeded or Jubilee failed?
Jubilee has two issues which need to be looked at. There are some successes and there are some failures. And I want to say that part of the failures of Jubilee is because Havi has indicated very clearly that Jubilee has failed, is because core principle to run the country ran away and started running other shows outside.
But she was denied work.
I will be honest with you that the Constitution is very clear. This is a presidency of Honorable Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta and Honorable William Samoei Ruto. They must have sat down and come up with a policy of running the country. Where they parted ways is not our business. What we are looking at is the integrity of the person who ran away and absconded Kenyans not to do his job. And if Jubilee failed, as Havi has said, Kenyans cannot allow William Samoei Ruto to go and form UDA and wants to form government to continue failing Kenyans and more. So the best thing Kenyans can do is to make sure that they vote Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, Martha Karua, Dr. Stephen Kalonzo Musyoka, and the rest to make sure that we move this country forward. You see, Havi is talking about Honorable Kalonzo Musyoka. He doesn't know what intrigues are there. If you look at the numbers, and the statistics doesn't lie, immediately Martha Karua came on board. Now Kalonzo is coming on board. You'll be shocked on the numbers. And they will never go beyond 45% of votes casted in this country.
No, I put that at 39%. They will not crack 40%.
They will not crack 40%.
No, they cannot crack 40.
Okay. Gentlemen, there's a fundamental question, I think, that happens here, that still we live in this country, and the question of the economy, people still feel the pinch. The loans that have been taken in the last 10 years are quite high, and we're paying for those things. That is a question that must be answered. And rightfully so is what, UDA is responding to.
Yes.
How do you respond to that?
Yeah, surely. I mean, the problem of development is not a problem of debt. For example, even in your own personal life, you will not build a house or start a business unless you inherit money from your parents without taking a loan. So taking a loan has never been the issue. And I think my friends here would agree with that. The question is what you do with the money that you borrow. And do you put that money to good use? Do you put it to good projects and so on and so forth?
So what happened to our money, Prof?
You know, it is clear that the monies that have been borrowed, a very large percentage of them, and the revenues collected by the government, have been stolen. This is not in dispute. Mr. Kenyatta himself said that 2 billion shillings are stolen a day. I like to think it is over 2 billion shillings. Okay, we know that a number of individuals in UDA, including the deputy president, including his deputy president nominee, are individuals who are credibly accused of stealing some of this money.
So, Prof,
and of money. No. I just want to say this because he's asking me this question. Monies do not steal themselves; they are stolen. Now, I think where you can, wait a minute, where you can, I think, fault Jubilee, and rightly so, is that they should have closed those loopholes. They should have prosecuted the thieves. They should have, gotten those individuals, held to account. They haven't. So that is a proper critique of this government that is sitting now. But as my friend Mr. Mule has said repeatedly,
that's another quoting, which we have said it's fine.
No, Mr. Ruto is a part of this government. Yeah, it's part of this government. How is he going to fix the problems that he himself was a part of creating?
So how comes then Kenyatta has not fixed this problem, the problem of corruption? He's the president, supported obviously by Raila Odinga and ODM. What is the difficulty of fixing this problem in the last 5 years?
Let me just make it clear, James. I call you Mr. Smart. Let me make it very clear. Mr. Odinga is not in government. Mr. Odinga has no official powers in this government. He doesn't. Mr. Odinga has helped Mr. Kenyatta steady the ship of state. It is Mr. Ruto who is a deputy president of this country, and the Constitution says clearly, if Mr. Havi will be my law student for a minute.
Yes,
it will be my law student for a minute. It is the deputy president who is the principal assistant to the president.
Right.
He is there to help him govern the country. He ran away for more than 6 years. Why are you pointing fingers at Mr. Odinga who is not in government?
Okay.
Point fingers at Mr. Ruto for absconding duty and for squatting in office and for fleecing the people of this country.
I take the point. But Nelson.
I'm trying just to imagine Dr. William Ruto quoting in office. I mean, it's hilarious. Some of these tales are entertaining.
Away from the hilarity of it all, Mr. Ruto, Deputy President William Ruto, is Deputy President of this Republic. He cannot run away on that question of that he's part of this government. He cannot.
And he has never run away, not on a single day. Let's interrogate the issues that he has put forth, one by one. We must apprehend and prosecute these thieves who have pilfered money. 7.2 billion KEMSA COVID funds is the amount of money stolen by the individuals in Azimio. Governors, MPs, senators, they're all involved. Can we start by prosecuting them?
I thought it has no make
Can we start by prosecuting him?
You see, the biggest issue...
Hang on. Let's make his point.
I do not speak from the emptiness of my head, but from research, facts, statistics. There is a report in Parliament. Because they sleep in Parliament, they don't know Parliament has made that recommendation for prosecution and recovery of the 7.2 billion. Your parliamentarians. Let's go back to this other premise. Let me conclude, my friend. This is an orderly discussion. It's not the chaotic environment you guys are accustomed to. Number two, as soon as the handshake was completed, an elaborate enterprise was commenced to kick Deputy President Dr. William Ruto out of Jubilee. You understand? By these interlopers. What was their intention? To occupy the space. He didn't leave. because he knows it is his constitutional role to remain loyal to the president. He wasn't allocated work. Work was given to certain individuals who had not been elected to perform that work. Now, the people of Kenya must interrogate with precision these key issues. We must examine who seeks to be president on the side of Azimio. It is not Raila Amolo Odinga. I know the gentleman very well. It is Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta who wants a third term.
But the question of integrity here, if the deputy president from 2018, as you rightfully say, was, not given duties and was out of office, why didn't he leave then?
Listen, James Pat, are you married? Where I come from, a good woman will not leave her home because of interlopers. Have I answered your question? He's a good deputy to the president. Where was he supposed to go?
So in that sense then, he associates himself with everything that has happened in the Jubilee years.
No, the good woman who stays at home does
Yeah.
not associate herself with the bad things done by the man. It's as simple as that. And we must create this dichotomy with clarity. The failure here is a failure by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. And for as long as Raila Amolo Odinga remains the candidate of Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta, we are not resolving the problem.
Can I just say something here? I would not go there to draw the analogy that you are drawing between marriage and a woman and the kind of dastardly tenure of the deputy president. First of all, I think the women of Kenya are watching you, and they might think that that analogy was misogynistic. So I think you may have to withdraw it.
But you're the ones quoting in public.
No, but let me just say this.
To interfere with this union between Raila and Martha. What is your role in this?
Let me just say this.
Let
me just say this. You saw a week ago Mr. Odinga pick Martha Karua as his running mate. Okay. Can you point to a single senior politician in this country, apart from the principal himself, who has the integrity and the uprightness and the moral probity and the legal ethics of which you are a member of that profession, as Ms. Karua? Ms. Karua is also as independent as they come. Okay? You know this for a fact. Okay? You're not disputing this fact.
I've said
she's
an honorable lawyer,
you owned
a distinguished lawyer.
So how is it possible?
And it's not upon me to determine the players in your team.
No, but
why must you determine the players in our team?
But so how is it possible that the individuals who constitute that ticket, it could be orchestrated by anyone else but by themselves? These are the two leading reformers in this country,
Prof.
Mr. Harvey.
No doubt whatsoever. But they are a puppet of a non-reformer.
Never.
Therein lies the problem.
Explain that. How is Raila and Martha Karua puppets of a non-reformer?
President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta himself is on record saying that I will campaign for Raila Amolo Odinga. And if you have ears and eyes, you must have heard and read that. It's not in the realm of conjecture.
That's campaigning.
But
it's okay.
Let me ask you a question.
It's okay.
Wasn't Mr. Ruto been crying every day that Mr. Kenyatta would not support him and go campaign for him? Come on, man.
He hasn't been crying. Yes.
Okay.
James, can I settle this?
Yes.
Dr. William Ruto has not cried. He has said he respects the decision by President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to take that trajectory of supporting Raila Amolo Odinga, which is entitled to. There's nothing wrong about it.
Okay.
But what must be made clear, that the person running here is not Martha Karua. The person running here is not my dad, Raila Amolo Odinga. The person running for a third term is President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta. The earlier we apprehend that fundamental premise, the better we are prepared
There's one
to
English
create a
word for that.
dichotomy.
The English word for that is hogwash.
Steve,
I can't believe
let's draw this into a close
Yes,
now.
I can't believe what I'm hearing from Havi. And he's a lawyer. He knows very well the Constitution gives a presidency only 10 years of 2 terms. Yeah. 10 years. He is inputting that Honorable Uhuru Kenyatta is running for a 3rd term, which is very wrong for such a...
Teach him some law.
Yeah, such a senior lawyer.
Refer him to me. Refer him to my class.
Actually, he need to go back to fine-tune the Constitution of 2010. Look at this.
It's like
Make your point. Make your point.
the tail struggling to work the dog. You can imagine how hilarious this is.
The good part of what is happening in this country is that there is a true change coming, whereby we'll reform the economy, we'll deal with the issue of corruption, we'll deal with the issue of transparency, accountability. And if you look at their ticket, both president and deputy president, they have been in court of law. We don't want to judge whatever outcomes will come from the court. But what we are saying is that this country needs to have a trajectory of moving forward with integrity, make sure that we deal with the issue of corruption, and we make sure that Kenyans can put food on the table.
Absolutely.
And there is no way Dr. Samuel Ruto can run away from the problems facing Kenya today. He can't. And if he was honest enough, he should have resigned in 2018. If Havi says that he was stripped of his duties. I cannot stay in an office whereby I'm not being given a job.
That's why he'll never be deputy president.
The good part of it is that you never know you'll be my running mate.
Okay. That's very fresh. That's very fresh and it's very good. Very quick. Finally, let's draw it to a close. What, if you were to look at that camera, what is in 30 seconds or less that Raila Odinga actually promises the people of this country?
I think Raila Amolo Odinga promises a future of prosperity, a future of plenty, a country where if you are born in Mandera or you are born in Tana River, you'll have the same chance as a child born in Kiambu or born in Nyeri, a country in which there will be no domestic violence or violence against women, a country in which no child will be left behind, a child in which there will be food on the table with every Kenyan, a country in which there will be water in every constituency in this country, a country in which people will be given a full sense of their nationhood. On the other side, I must say, because it's an election, the individuals who are running on that ticket, one of them opposed the Constitution in 2010. He campaigned against the Constitution in 2010, leading the No campaign, a Constitution that he has subsequently has benefited from. This just shows what a hypocritical fellow that he is. But then he went and picked perhaps the dirtiest running mate one could think of. Mr. Gachagua his history is infamous. He's notorious. He's laden with scandal. He is the gift that will keep on giving, to our campaign. And I don't understand how they made that decision. And I don't understand how they shafted Professor Kindiki, my colleague.
But Prof,
I don't understand how they did that.
You should be happy about that because you're leading on this
Of course I'm happy about it.
All right. But let me go to Steve before I come here because that's one has some questions to answer on social media. You can do your public quoting now as your final comment.
I think...
There's a bylaw against romance in public.
He can say nice things.
I think what we need to look and tell Kenyans is that we are looking on a very bright future under the leadership of Azimio, and we are looking forward to make sure that Kenya gains back its glory, because the things which we sometimes hear we cannot understand. But I want to say that Azimio Oka has very elaborate framework to make sure that this country returns to its glory, get the economic back to track, get employment for the young people, make sure that the infrastructure which has been started since the era of Honorable Mwai Kibaki is still ongoing, build this country trust, make sure that we attract a lot of investors to this country, and we look at each other and say we need a total corrupt-free country under the leadership of Azimio. Because I can't trust the UDA when they don't even mention the word corruption. That's why their slogan is Kazi ni Kazi. So even corruption for them is Kazi.
Okay, that's all. First, did you cycle to get here first? That's a straight question for you. But what is UDA promising as you answer that question and making your final remarks?
Well, I did 38 kilometers around the leafy suburbs of Karen Dogoto, Kikuyu, then back to Karen. I didn't cycle to this place for 2 reasons, because there's no washroom facility here.
You live in Karen? Do you live in Karen?
This is what we call noise, that which interrupts communication. That's the first reason.
Yeah.
The second reason is because we don't have cyclist lanes that can enable cyclists enjoy their right to use the road. So as I seek to serve the people of Westlands and the people of Kenya in the National Assembly, I'll struggle to ensure that this awareness, the need to ensure that road use accommodates cyclists, is entrenched. Now, back to the point. UDA, which has fielded the presidential candidate, does not promise anything, because these guys are giving empty promises. You see, the people of Kenya do not require promises. They need to be given that which is due to them. What is due to the people of Kenya? Sustainable social economic development, where credit is easily accessible to the person at the bottom of the social economic strata, at the bottom of the pyramid, where a youth is given that which is due to him or her under the Constitution, employment and empowerment. That's why instead of giving somebody 6,000 per month, we are injecting tens of billions into the economy to sustain those at the bottom of the strata to come up. You understand? We are giving to the people of Kenya that which is due to them as the people of Kenya under the Constitution, because anything else is a false promise.
This gentleman is a voter in Westlands. Prof, are you going to vote for this gentleman?
He has never asked for my vote.
And I'm surprised he doesn't know the first thing he did.
You know, that's the first failure of a candidate, not being able to ask for a vote.
I must ask for forgiveness.
And I tell you what we did. You see,
a second or less.
I mean, we can't quote in public. We have quoted in private, and we have had an agreement.
You think you have his vote?
No, I can't expose him. We have quoted him. Can we just take that? So that I want to educate them.
That's a good one.
These things can be done privately.
Yes.
You don't need to come and complain. Kalonzo has gone that side. We wish you would have come this side.
Thank you very much.
Look for him privately. Sort him out, my friend.
Thank you very much, Stephen Mule, MP Matungulu.
Thank you.
Nelson Havi, aspirant Westlands, wish you well.
Thank you so much, Smart.
And of course, Professor Makau Mutua.
Much fun. Much fun to my colleagues.
With all due respect.
Much fun.
Please have a lovely night.
Yes, thank you.